Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you exactly where I get my leads from in order to carry out every single one of the different prospecting methods. Every prospecting method, I mean all the main ones. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, but not just those, also the typical email, SMS, even voicemail drops as well. I'm going to show you absolutely everything. Now I know that other people have talked about the best lead sourcing methods already, and trust me, I've seen those videos. I've seen the videos by Charlie Morgan, by Creston Fox, but because I've seen those videos, I also know the stuff that they haven't talked about. So I'm going to focus on that today in order for you to get a lead list that is different from what everybody else is going to be using from now on, and so you can stand out and you can book more appointments than all your competition, who is going to be getting compared in terms of prices and in terms of who can promise the craziest thing. So let me show you that right now. By the way, if you don't know, my name is Samuel. I'm part of Alien Acquisition, and all I do is help other agency owners book a lot of appointments, just like I do for myself. But let me get straight right into it and show you which methods I use myself in order to book a lot of appointments. The first thing will be where to scrape the leads from, and for which method. There's two types of scraping that you need to know at the beginning. The first one is going to be professional business scraping, and the other one is going to be local business scraping. So the main difference between these is that professional, you can think about it as maybe a law firm, a dentist, let's say even some realtors if the brokerage is quite big as well. And local will be different. Local will be mainly those one-man bands. Let's say, for example, you are thinking about roofers, you're thinking about plumbers. All of those guys will be more local, and based on the different type of business, based on your niche, then you will have to choose a different type of scraping. I'm going to cover both of them today so you know exactly which options you got. The first one, what platform are you reaching out from? This is the main one. We're going to be reaching out today. We're going to be showing you how to reach out through LinkedIn, email, SMS, Facebook, and Instagram in that order. Let's start with LinkedIn. When it comes to reaching out to prospects on LinkedIn, what you need to find is LinkedIn profiles. So you need to get yourself a list of a lot of LinkedIn profiles that are all the type of clients that you want to work with and you want to send them connection requests. You only have 100 of these per month, so you want to be as selective as you can, or well, you only have 100 of these per week, so you want to be as selective as you can with your list. And the first and best option, of course, is a very obvious one for LinkedIn, will be LinkedIn Sales Navigator. First thing I'll say with Sales Navigator, even though it has a lot of things that I don't really like, it is still one of the best options for LinkedIn, just because of the fact that it has so many good filters that you can put in place in order to get a list of the people that you actually want to connect with, and not just connect with everybody that has the title and the industry that you care about. But let me give you some tips when it comes to using LinkedIn Sales Navigator. The first one is that you need to get it from someone from Fiverr. Some of you might be aware of this already, but if you go to Fiverr and you type LinkedIn account activation, someone there will be selling you a LinkedIn account. They basically have large accounts. Let's say they have like an industrial account, and they have a certain amount of people that they can put into those accounts. So then they sell one of the spaces to you for 1 month or 2 months. Buy it for 2 months as well. It ends up being quite cheap, around $50. So it's like $25 a month compared to the $50 you're gonna have to pay every single month to have it on LinkedIn. Tips when using it. First of all, like I said, get it from someone on Fiverr. The second one is that if you're going to be sending connection requests, a really good filter to use will be if they posted on the last 30 to 28 days. Now, this filter is really important to use because it shows you who is actually active on the platform. So those people will be more likely to accept your connection request in the first place because they're more likely to see it. Second one, Apollo. Now, Apollo gets talked about a lot when it comes to emails, even though in my opinion it's not even the best option when it comes to email, but I'm going to go into that a little bit more. But people don't talk about its potential when it comes to getting LinkedIn profiles and making targeted lists of people in LinkedIn profiles by almost free. Like, if you already have Apollo, you should be doing this. Don't even think about getting Sales Navigator, because this option will probably be better for you. Even though, of course, like I said, there's a lot of other methods. Right now with Apollo, you could be leaving a lot of money on the table if you're not also doing this. The first one, Let me tell you the steps right now. The first one is get the cheapest version of Apollo or get a free trial of the medium version. So with a free trial of 7 days, you're probably going to be able to see more than just the first 100 profiles that show up. The second one is go to Apollo's database and find out exactly your ideal client. Put the filters there to find your ideal clients. Then the next one now is going to be to get a Chrome extension similar to Bardeen. Here you go, you guys have Bardeen there. Any website scraping tool will actually work for this. I just use Bardeen because in my opinion it's probably one of the easiest ones to set up. You don't have to code or anything. It's really easy to set up. What you're going to do is that you are basically going to tell it to copy and paste the name, the LinkedIn profile, and the business name of each of those prospects, and you're going to end up with a list of a lot of prospects with a lot of emails. And the powerful thing about this is the fact that we're doing this without spending a single Apollo credit, because they don't charge you anything for showing you the LinkedIn profile, and even also the Twitter profile. If you guys want to keep the Twitter profile as well and you're doing the Twitter campaign, that could also be very powerful there. I think the Apollo at that point, I haven't done Twitter myself, but I think Apollo at that point will probably become the most useful, or one of the most useful scraping tools if you were doing Twitter. There we go. And now emails. Emails, very controversial one, because there is several different softwares. Like I said just now, Apollo is just one example there that a lot of people are using, but because of that, a lot of people are using it, and those specific leads on Apollo are going to be getting bombarded. They have been getting bombarded by a lot of people sending them cold emails. But let me show you exactly now the best way in which you can go about your emails, getting your emails. The first thing I'm going to tell you is that LinkedIn, the first option will be a Sales Navigator scraper. Yeah, Sales Navigator scrapers are going to be some of the best options. Two options there will be SalesQL and Scrub. Now, a Scrub can be very cost effective, with you being able to get 5,000 emails a month from AppSumo for just $79. Let me show you right now. As you probably see right here, this is the one I use myself, for example, just $79, and you get 5,000 emails per month, which is very nice in that sense. Now, SalesQL is another one that I use myself as well, but SalesQL, the problem with that one is that it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but I'm going to tell you why you should use it as well later. In terms of the data, and in terms of the email quality is actually really good. So most of the time it averages around 70% of the emails actually being valid emails, which if you compare that to Apollo, which is only around 50%, that is absolutely incredible, the amount of emails you can get from that. Now, two of the tips I'm going to give you with this one, but before that, let me tell you about SalesQL. SalesQL, on the other hand, is a little bit more expensive, a little bit lower quality, around 60%, but that's alright as well. 60% is actually pretty good as well, but just compared to Scrub, it's actually worse. So in terms of emails, if you're only getting emails, Scrub is the best, but SalesQL also has really good numbers when it comes to getting phone numbers. So it could be a really good option when it comes to getting phone numbers. So if you want both phone numbers and emails, go for SalesQL. If you only want emails, go for Scrub. Tips when using this: you need Sales Navigator in order to use it. So I recommend, like I said, getting it from Fiverr. And you need to be selective with the list you scrape, because every day you only have around 3,000 scrapes before your Sales Navigator says there is a problem, you made too many requests, and then you're gonna have to wait a day until you can actually do it again. Now, be sure to leverage all the filters in order for you to come up with the best list possible. The 2,500 limit. There is a 2,500 limit in Sales Navigator. So even if your search leads to 1 million people, they're only going to show you 2,500 accounts. So you have to make sure that your search leads to either 3,000, 2,600, or a little bit less than 2,500, because you don't want to waste all those prospects that could be really good for you. On the other hand as well, the lower you go down the list in terms of LinkedIn, the less likely those prospects are going to be your ideal prospects, since LinkedIn tends to show you the best prospects and the one that matches your searches up front, not at the back. But it's just a good thing to keep in mind. Now, if you don't want to do all of this, if you don't want to get Sales Navigator and get these emails that way, you can go for the typical Apollo. Apollo is not bad either, it's just not the best option. And I'm saying, if you're really serious about it, I would recommend going for one of the two. But if you just don't want to go through all the hassle, and maybe you already have Apollo can be also used pretty well. I'm going to tell you some ways in which you can use it as well. But the main thing, I won't go too in depth with this either, because I know most of you guys probably have used Apollo or have heard about it, and there's 1,000 different tutorials on really how to leverage it as well. Now, the average with Apollo is around 52% of the emails actually being qualified emails. So let's say in Apollo you're paying $99 for 10,000 emails per month. What that means is that you're actually paying for 5,000, because once you verify those emails, you're going to get 5,000. Now, with every single one of these, even with these two, even though they're really good, I also recommend using a email verifier software. So this is an extra spend, but it doesn't have to be expensive. If you have a bigger budget, you can go for Million Verifier. It's really good, really fast. It verifies them in a click and it's very accurate. But if you don't have a big budget, you can go for another really good option on the market, which will be the email list validation. Now, this is another AppSumo product that actually allows you to get 1 million email credits for a year for less than $100. Yes, that is completely unheard of, and that is completely crazy. 1 million email credits for less than $100. Now, let me show you email in terms of local businesses. There are several options when it comes to local businesses, but I'm going to show you the best ones, the best two that I think should be the only two that you should be questioning. Local businesses tend to scrape from either Google Maps or Facebook. The first one I'm going to talk about is going to be a Facebook one. The second one is going to be more of a Google Maps scraper that has been there for a long time. Let's talk about Leads Gorilla. Yes, Leads Gorilla. Leads Gorilla actually didn't come out that long ago, didn't become famous that long ago, and it's actually pretty good for the money. Leads Gorilla is going to be scraping directly from Facebook pages, so of course it's going to work out better with local businesses that have Facebook pages and that have their personal information on the Facebook page. So what you're going to do with Leads Gorilla is that you're going to have to set up a Google API key, which might be a bit complicated, to be fair, at the beginning for some people. So I'm going to say one of the cons that Leads Gorilla has is that if you're not very tech savvy, it could take you, let's say, upwards of 4 hours or more on actually just sorting out the emails as well, so you can actually use it in the first place. The second option, if you don't want to go through all that setting up and everything, a good option is still, even though it's been talked about quite a bit and the businesses on there probably haven't reached out more than 5 times, but D7 Lead Finder is a database widely known in terms of the data and everything. Is really good for both phone numbers and emails. By the way, Lead Gorilla is also really good for phone numbers, having 40% phone number rate to the emails you scrape. Now, let's go into phone numbers. Let me talk a little bit more about phone numbers right now. With phone numbers, the same thing applies. You want either personal phone numbers from professional people, or you want the business phone numbers of businesses, let's say like the plumbers and everything. When it comes to doing local businesses, you want to go for an option like the ones that we talked up here. You can either go for Lead Finder or Lead Gorillas. Now again, Lead Gorilla wins this competition again with 40% of the total contacts you get having personal phone numbers, and a lot of them actually being verified personal phone numbers. The second option for professional businesses will be SalesQL, the one I mentioned before, and this is why it is a good option. Even if you have a scrub there that could be quite better when it comes to emails, SalesQL is actually really good at getting those personal phone numbers out of LinkedIn, with 20% of them being verified phone numbers in average. But take into account that this will change depending on your niche you're targeting. If you're targeting somewhere like lawyers, you can expect much lower rates since they don't really put their information out there. But with realtors, for example, you can expect even greater than this, because realtors put their information everywhere, to be fair. My advice when using this would be to have a phone number verification service in order to filter out the phone numbers that don't work, and will be to, of course, focus on getting those personal phone numbers, since they're going to be a lot more useful, and they are going to be a lot more useful for SMS, even voicemail jobs. For everything in general, you're probably going to be getting better rates with phone numbers. It doesn't mean that the other ones are not useful, but those are going to be a lot better. Now, Instagram is one thing. It's one of my favorite outreach methods. It's one of the ones that I use the most myself with the clients. It was the ones that's gained us crazy results. I have a whole video on my channel explaining exactly how I do Instagram messages and how I manage to send around 500 messages per day all by myself without needing any BAs or everything at all. So if you're trying to do something like that, feel free to check out the video, and if you're trying to do something like that, this is also going to be crucial for you. Now, in Instagram, I only gave you guys one option because I think if you're trying to do it the way I'm doing it, then that is the best option uncomparably. There is other options of course in the market, but I just think most of them are highly overpriced because they are targeting people that want to make money from Instagram. But Apify is a bit different because it's targeting people that want to grow an audience on Instagram. So as you probably see, if it's not as sales focused, it's not as talked about in our space, and it is one that's less used than those other ones, and you can get a lot of really good people from here. Now I have a whole tutorial showing you step by step how to use it, in which I show you my screen and I show you how I actually scrape some leads for myself. You can check that out in my channel. But the main thing I'm going to tell you here is the reasons why I choose this one over other ones, famous ones, like for example Phantom Buster. Phantom Buster has two things that Apify doesn't, to fair. It has a limit on it, so you can only scrape a certain amount of accounts per hashtag. It has a limit on it because of course Instagram just scrape the accounts from hashtags, and it also has the risk of your account getting banned. Apify doesn't have those two things. You can scrape as many as you want as long as you pay for the credits, and there is no risk of your account getting banned since they scrape it on their own account and you don't scrape it. You scrape it through the API. Now, when it comes to using Apify effectively, I'm gonna give you some tips. The first, focus on hashtags. Focus on finding industry-specific hashtag in which you think your prospects will be posting. If you can use a location on those hashtags, that will be even better. Something like London body sculpting will be much better than just body sculpting, for example, because you get people from a lot of different places that you might not even be targeting. And try to use hashtags with a decent amount of posts, at least 1,500, and upwards to use massive ones, either like keep it below 30k. So I'll say if you have more than 30k, try not to scrape all of those because you're gonna run through your credits very fast, and if it wasn't a good hashtag, then you will have wasted all your money there. But keeping it within that range is a really good option. Now, Facebook, the final one. Facebook is probably the most straightforward here. All you have to do here is find really good groups that you can join and text people within that group. The first thing, here are some tips to finding really good groups, because I think this is going to be the make or break of marketing in Facebook. The first one is going to be to use the spin tags on your search. So don't just write residential realtor in Arizona. Instead, write all the different variations down, like Arizona residential realtors, for example, and do that with every search you do. Doing this, only changing the way you phrase the words and everything, you're gonna go from having 5 possible searches to having upwards of 10 or even 12 possible searches. Go to specific target cities and towns instead of targeting states first. If you can't find any groups for cities and towns, then go to the state. But I'll say target those first because most people are just going to be targeting general ones, or they're going to be targeting states. Go to a good groups and press show more, which will show you similar groups that can be really good as well. If you go to a group and you scroll down, it's going to show you a line of multiple groups that are similar to that one, which you can press on, and well, you can join those as well. And I'm going to tell you, take your time as well. Take your time to actually apply to those private groups, because if they accept you, it's going to be a much better lead source than the public groups, which most people are going to be targeting. Tips with this one, of course, like I said, don't overcomplicate it. Facebook is the most simplest one when it comes to finding leads, and take your time and apply for those private groups, right? Like I said. So yes, guys, this would be my best recommendations when it comes to actually sourcing leads for each specific outreach methods. Let me know in the comments if there is any other ones that you think I missed, or if there is any other ones that you guys will want to see later on. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and if you found out something that you didn't know before, just give it a like. I would really appreciate that.